The day that they came back to the house after the robbery, 2 days later, they came back to the house. I grabbed the driver and we were able to coerce him very roughly into telling us who was setting up these robberies on my friend. Because his life was in danger at this point. You know, it was just a matter of time until they killed him. So once we found out who was setting him up, then I was able to grab that guy, and his brother was the witness. So when we grabbed him, he called his brother, and the brother didn't show up to the lineup. He was on probation, and they were going to pull his parole, actually. So he went on the run to Florida and violated his parole. But ultimately, it was either that or your brother ends up in the trunk of a car dead somewhere, you know? I wasn't letting my friend go to jail.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I wasn't letting my friend go to jail over these scumbags who were robbing him. At the time, I was a very, very loyal person. I didn't realize I was being used as much as I was.
Well, when you say you grabbed the driver and you coerced him, you know, AKA tortured him. I mean, how do you really torture somebody? Like explain the process.
I'll tell you this particular process. I had my friend get in the driver's seat. I got in the back seat, and I put the driver in the front passenger seat behind me, with me behind him. And he had a do-rag on. So I had a roll of duct tape, a knife, and a pistol. I started cutting his face open and then just duct taping it closed because he was bleeding a lot. So I would ask him, and he didn't want to give up who had set my friend up. So I cut his eyebrow off, duct taped it closed, pulled the do-rag over it, tied it tight, duct taped that. Then I started strangling him with the seatbelt until he was about to pass out. And then ultimately he would, from me strangling him got me more than cutting him. And then he told us, and I kicked him out of the moving car. We were doing about 20 miles an hour. I kicked him out of the car, and that broke his leg. And that's why the police ever found him, because he had to get an ambulance on the side of the highway. But ultimately, he told them I'm not cooperating, and he went back to California, and he kept his mouth shut.
Okay. So at that point, did you start to kind of get the attention of the Lucchese's?
Not so much. My father knew what had happened, and I ultimately went on the lam. I mean, my prints were all over the guns that they found. I was hiding, but I was only hiding right in Queens. You know, I had a friend in Queens I was staying with, and my father never reported this. Like, hey, look at what my son's doing. He kept it hidden. He didn't want me getting any spotlight. You know, he didn't want me coming up through the ranks while he, you know, they were actively putting his name up to get made, and he was getting knocked down. Because when he got made, it was related to me by one of the guys in his crew. The only way they were able to make him was that Arnold happened to be doing a parole violation. So Arnold was very pissed off. Actually, I was with Arnold's cousin, is a very old guy. His name's Ernie Boy Abamonte. Oreste is his first name. I was with him in MDC, and he told me that his cousin was very pissed off when he found out they straightened my father out behind his back while he was in prison. So that's what I was... You know, I'm not going to say my father didn't deserve it. He very much deserved to get it by that point. But Ernie Boy had nothing against my father. He said my father should have got it a long time ago. But ultimately, his cousin, who was the acting boss at one point, was mad that they did it behind his back. So my father definitely wasn't going to start scoring me points with the crew and worry about me getting straightened out before him, you know?